Hello, everyone. It is, what week of the course are we in? Are we in week 7 already? We are in week 7. So we're just about at the midpoint of the course, and I thought I'd do a video just to check in both on what we're doing currently, what we'll be doing in the future, and just a reminder of different aspects of the course. So just on a practical level, you'll see that I do send out announcements on, I hope, a regular basis. And a lot of those announcements are study question reviews. Um, those are also not just in the announcements, but if you open up the course, you'll see that there's a folder containing those study question reviews. Again, whether you watch any videos in this course is entirely up to you. But the study question review videos are meant to supplement your study questions for this course, or they're meant to be a response to them. As you see, I don't do individual feedback on individual study question submissions. I think that more valuable than that is to give a more extensive talk on each question, explaining what I had in mind and what I was looking for in answers. It is up to you to watch those videos and to compare them with your own responses. This is a way for you to judge whether your grasp of the text is really sufficient. And if it is, that's great. If you judge that it's not, it's really up to you to contact me. And I hope that you feel comfortable doing that by email or calling me on the phone, which is fine. And talking about whatever problems or difficulties or questions you have about the text. So the study question review videos, I think, are really good to watch because, after all, what you're doing in this course is trying to, first of all, to grasp some very difficult material. And I think that you should be using all the resources you can to put yourself in a position to do that. The better you grasp material, the better you'll do in the class. Not just on the final exam, but on the individual essays that are required for each unit of the course. So those are there for you. Again, I don't check and see whether you watch them. It's any of my business. But I would encourage you to do that and to use those videos to see whether your study question responses really were on the right track. Essays, yes. Okay, so we're coming up on the third essay. If you have missing work, if you have missing study question responses, or even if you have missing essays, please keep in mind that you can turn them in late and that there's no deadline for late work. All late work will have a penalty, but there's no deadline for turning in late work. So if you have missing work, I really encourage you to turn it in. Just saying that. So here we are in week 7 of the course. We're in the third part of the course. We look at the course outline. We're in the third part of the course, Immortality and Life After Death, and that consists of 2 long readings, Plato's Phaedo and Paul Landsberg's The Experience of Death. My initial thought is to say that this is the most difficult part of the course, and it may be, but it's not because it has the most difficult readings. I actually think maybe the first part of the course, when we get to Nagel and Bruckner and Fisher, that those readings are actually more difficult than Plato and Landsberg. Plato and Landsberg aren't necessarily difficult or more difficult. They aren't difficult readings. They're just longer. So I think it's with these 2 readings that it really shows whether you've spent time with the reading or not. That is, if you're relying on just little details, bits here and there, say from the videos or from the discussion board, or in the case of the Phaedo, you're just relying on like secondary sources, Sparks notes, things like. I think it really does show up in your work. On the other hand, if you have spent time with these readings, enough time to really get a sense of what the authors are getting at, and getting a sense of the works as literary works, not just philosophical arguments, but as literary works, I think that shows too. So it may not be that the material is more difficult than previous weeks. I think all the things that we read are very challenging. But as far as devotion to the thing, because of the length of the works and the breadth of the works, they're really taking on this huge issue of the question of the possibility of life after death, of survival of death, and this is a very, very difficult thing to take on as a philosopher. I think, as we'll see, it's not like Epicurus, who does not believe in a life after death, is able to describe his philosophy of death in 3 or 4 sentences. I think that it's an entirely different sort of thing when you take Plato's approach, or try to prove what Plato is proving, or try to establish what Landsberg is trying to establish from his Catholic point of view. It's an entirely different thing. It's a harder road to go down. So it's a longer road, that's for sure. So I think that these works really demand more time. I mean, everything that we read demands time. So you really have to sit down with these works, and they're well worth sitting down with, because there's just so much there. So that's where we are in the third part of the course. Your next essay isn't due till November 7th, and that means you have time. You have basically, we have a month with these readings, so there's time to sit down with them. There's time to get to know them, and I hope that the videos help and guide you through these works. But there's no substitute for the reading of them. I want to reiterate that if you have any questions about these readings, anything about this course that you'd like to discuss, please contact me and we can discuss it.